Today we're going to try something really crazy. 23.9, close enough. These are very close to true O scale. You don't want to try this with a modern transformer. So this is based off of a real B&O caboose from 1916 up to 1938. That is not helpful. Now it is truth or consequences time. Part of the circuit is running through this wire arm here. Very simple but effective animation for the layout. Hello again, this is Mike with Toy Train Tips and Tricks. And today we are hauling some black diamonds. Coal, the backbone of American railroading throughout the 20th century, and still a little bit here in the 21st, but less important than it used to be. So what do you do with all these Lionel hoppers that are empty? I mean, obviously your hopper cars are going to be empty sometime. They can't, go loaded both directions. But, hauling around all these empty hopper cars all the time, your railroad's not making any money, right? Now, I understand why Lionel did it, because an empty hopper car is a great place to throw in Army men and all kinds of other toys and haul stuff around. Great play value. But let's be a little more realistic. Let's have some loaded hoppers. So, what are some methods to do that? Well, there's the old standard of these were made, my dad made these for me 1970 something or other. We took some scrap cardboard, some Elmer's glue, and some artificial coal, poured it on there, and made these coal hoses. Now, once upon a time, it was all the way to the edges, so that's one of the problems with this, is that over time, pieces fall off, and it goes from black to kind of gray because dust gets mixed in with it, and how do you clean coal? So you could do it this way. I would do it today. I would use black foam core instead of cardboard. It's $1 a sheet at Dollar Tree, and it's a little more sturdy, and plus you have the black background, so if you miss a few spots, it's still black underneath. But the problem is the coal itself. There's a couple of options, and I don't like any of them that I've found so far. Probably the cheapest way to go is to go to a craft store like a Hobby Lobby, and they have lots of different colored, basically it's ground stone or sand, and they've got black, kind of shiny, looks like coal, except that it's just way too small for my taste anyway. It just ends up looking like black sand. Other options are a little chunkier. But then the other option is, the other problem with those is the cost is $20 a pound. And so, you've invested quite a bit of money in 4 or 5 cars in order to do it right with a nice pile. So, looking for other solutions, I turned once again to my trusty new 3D printer. And I came up with a couple of different designs before I got the one that I really like. This first one, from the side, doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of, the arch, to the coal. And, again, from the side, the texture isn't too bad. But when you look at it from straight up and down, that texture turns into more of a swirl. It almost looks like it's a frosted cupcake more than piles of coal. So the light plays some tricks. Again, from the side, it looks kind of chunky. Straight up and down, not so much. So this was okay, but so I tried again, and attempt number 2 has even more of a hump. Matter of fact, there's 3 humps here, hump, hump, hump. And again, from the side, it's not too terribly awful, but again, once I got it straight up and down, it looks more like, swirlies, like frosting. So I wanted something that looked chunkier. Even though, scale-wise, these chunks are going to be like the size of footballs. But, it works. So I came up with this one. Now, here we've got the compromise. It's much chunkier. It doesn't have the humps that I like, but every time I tried to put the humps in, it ended up with the swirls. So I think I'm going with this as my primary design here. And you see it's nice and chunky both from the top and from the sides. Especially from the sides. If you look straight down, it looks like plastic then. But from the sides, it doesn't look half bad. And that's the way we're going to be looking at it most of the time. So this is, again, done on the 3D printer. This file works both for the MPC era and the original post-war, although I'm going to make a separate file for the post-war, because what these have that the MPCs don't is these little brackets on the side. So that file with that thickness, it rides a little too high. So I'm going to make one that's a little bit thinner. That'll sit down in the post-war cars better. And so when you go to the link to my Thingiverse collection, you'll see two versions. You'll see the regular MPC version, and you'll see the post-war version. Other than riding a little too high, though, it fits otherwise in the post-war 2-bay hoppers. Not in the quad hoppers. Actually, I don't have any of those. They never looked right to me. So I'm not making a file for that. I've got some K-line cars that are slightly different dimensioned. I'll make some for those. I've got some plastic marks hoppers that I'll make a file for those too eventually. But anyway, let's take a look on the layout. Well, before we do that, just think it cost $20 a pound for the artificial coal plus the glue and the time, whereas these print out cost me about 80 cents worth of plastic a piece. So I'm not saving really that much on the cost when you talk about a batch, but I think they look a lot nicer. They're easier to clean, certainly, and I think they're going to be more durable. So let's take a look at them on the layout.